This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Well, later morning, Tuscaloosa. Hope you and yours are doing well. It's the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. We're very clearly not in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios this morning. We are inside Coleman Coliseum, where we have just walked off the practice field. We watched about 15, 20 minutes of Alabama football practice this morning. And so we're excited to talk about that with you guys on the Joe Gaither Show today. We encourage you to visit Derek Daniel right there off of McFarland Boulevard. Call him for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We appreciate him sponsoring the program. And we're also sponsored by Purple Turtle Roofing. You can visit Purple Turtle Roofing at roofturtle.com for all of your roofing needs. Last night's storms in West Alabama were pretty gnarly. A lot of hail in the Midwest, so hail is obviously on deck. You want to make sure that you have the protection and the peace of mind that you deserve. So call Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635 today, or visit them online at roofturtle.com. For all y'all watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, you already see my man Theo Fernandez. Follow him at Theo Fernandez __ on the Twitter machine. We were both out there at practice. There will be no baseball talk today. All football, as we just got off the practice field. What a time. Excitement in the air. A bunch of Metallica on the playlist today, Theo. So I'm all juiced up.
I hear some For Whom the Bell Tolls in there.
Yeah, For Whom the Bell Tolls and Master of Puppets were the two that I stuck out in 8th grade. Joe, who was thought he was a tough guy, was in his element listening to those songs. So a great time in the Hank Crisp Indoor facility. Only 15, 20 minutes, but Theo just kind of, what do you think? What are you feeling? We just walked off. What'd you see? How are you feeling? Let's start working our way through some of our thoughts and experiences.
Well, Joe, let's just get right into it. I saw a lot of sloppiness. I saw a lot of throws that, man, what happened on this ball? How a lot of air under there, especially, I mean, both guys did it about just as much. I was rewatching the video. I've been doing it for the past 15 minutes, just scrolling through. Okay, where did this ball go? Where did this ball go? And most of the times the answer is over a guy's head. I mean, it was underwhelming to see just the lack of accuracy. And then there'd be, I could not find a single rep where I looked at Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, both throw a football. And that ball, I said, yeah, there's two very, very good throws. So we talked yesterday about are these guys light years ahead? Well, we don't know exactly where they were last year. My memory is not all that good, but I don't know. I don't know if this is light years ahead. It didn't seem like a light years ahead type performance today.
Oh, that's unfortunate to hear. And Theo watched a lot of quarterbacks. You watch quarterbacks, tight ends, little receivers, running backs. I watched defensive backs and linebackers. The defensive line was off into a corner, so I couldn't really see them. I was really trying to see them. But yeah, I'll just ask you about the quarterbacks a little more and some of the receivers and tight ends that you looked at, because I didn't really look at them. You can see all our practice video on Bama Central's YouTube channel. All four of us, Katie Wyndham and Hunter DeCyber, also out there for Bama Central, covering and looking at different aspects and elements of practice. So if you've got a favorite element, it will likely be in one of those videos. So I saw just a couple of clips that you showed me. Wow, look at this pass. Look at this pass. Keelan Russell looked like he had a cannon, but just not very not very adept at his touch so far.
No.
Are you walking away feeling like, oh, I saw something worth holding on to? These guys were erratic as passers, or were you walking away feeling a little bit like, okay, let's not react. It's just the first 15 minutes of practice. Maybe they'll dial in. What's your feel as you notice the sloppiness?
It's somewhere in the middle of those two. First of all, you guys have been throwing a football around long enough to not have all those accuracy issues, but then also it's still so early, and you don't know how long they've worked with these guys, right? You obviously have a lot of new additions. We saw a guy like Mac Sutter, for example, running around a ton, right? The freshman, he actually got knocked onto his feet. An Alabama assistant threw a pretty tough block that just sent him back to the ground.
Oh no!
He got up, he made the catch, but you have a lot of unfamiliarity just everywhere, and you don't know how much that's playing into things, but you saw some reps, for example, Caleb Edwards, consecutive reps. Ball first from Austin Mack goes over his head. Second one, he has to fully extend the arm to haul it in from Keelan.
Did he haul it in, though?
He did haul it in.
What an athlete.
He'd make the catch. He's an athlete. And he was moving well. I mean, And it's hard to see because obviously these guys aren't moving 100%, and you don't know how to look into that. But I was somewhat, I don't know if concerned is the right word, but it sticks with me. It's in my mind.
Sure.
It's not going, and I'm just going to let it go away.
I mean, you saw it. It was out there, and it should be a data point in your analysis going forward. You mentioned Max Sutter. How did Max Sutter look physically standing out among the other tight ends and other wide receivers? Was he, big and tall and looking buff, or is he looking too lean for as a freshman? I mean, he's a freshman, so like you never know. I have a lot of observations defensively from freshmen. So how did Sutter look physically?
So he wears number 18. I didn't know that off the top of my head. So I see 18. And I'm like, oh, who is that? I mean, I don't know. The point being, he looked like a normal tight end. He didn't really stand out in any way. So I thought physically, okay, yeah, this guy's an Alabama football tight end.
6'5", 249 is what they've listed him on the roster.
I don't think size will be an issue.
Did you see any Sedarian Morgan in your time? I know you're looking through camera lenses, so it's a little hard.
It's hard. I wish I had a better camera on my phone.
Well, it's hard when you're out there because everything's happening so fast.
So quickly. That
you're just trying to get quality video, and so you're focused in on the video, and then you're like not even really like plugging your brain isn't like receiving the information. It's more dialed in on take good video, follow the football, follow the action.
Let me say this: none of the receivers did anything to make me check what their number is, which I think that's a pretty good sign in a thing like this, right? We didn't see any drops. We didn't see any. How did this happen? There was one miscommunication between Keelan and his receiver. I forget who exactly it was, but like you saw all those things happen where it's like, oh, Keelan thought he was going one way, he thought he was going the other way. You see that happen, but now it's once the ball gets in their hands, they for the most part hung on to it.
There we go. So Alabama's receivers, looking solid. Did Ryan look any different with number 1 on?
No, he's the same guy, just as fast. Coleman Williams and Williams are the same player. And, I was really in on the receivers. I saw the running back, so we didn't get E.J. Crowell today. I don't know why exactly he wasn't there, but he was in full uniform. He was in a helmet. I see him running around like in the background of the shot. So maybe we have no way of knowing what that is, right?
Correct. Not without talking to any of the coaches. But he was, as you said, in full pads, but just didn't participate in the drill work. Maybe something small, maybe a muscle issue. Not really quite sure yet. But we'll hear from Ryan Grubb here shortly. And if there is an update, I mean, I'm sure we're not the only ones who noticed him standing off to the side. I'm sure he's going to be asked about here in about 25, 30 minutes, and we'll get you an update on E.J. Crowell's status going forward in spring practice.
Because one of the things that I really like, I wanted to come in and say, okay, here's our running back depth chart starting out. And with no Crowell, it's because we went Daniel Hill, AKD, or Kevin Riley. Where would Crowell slide in there? We don't know because we didn't see him out there, right? So we didn't really get much.
All right, Coach Fernandez, are you putting him without seeing him above any of those 3?
Not to start out, but I think there's a shot we could see him working in for 3 with Kevin Riley right away, but I don't know. It kind of does feel like, that's probably one where he rises throughout the spring, but man, that's a story, right? If he comes in and starts already at number 3, I'd say that's something to talk about. So we'll probably find out eventually. Or not, we'll find out what he has.
We'll have one more practice viewing, I believe, in the spring before A-Day.
Only one?
I believe it's just one. I can double check us here. Let me look at my flagged messages and see the schedule. Oh, let's see. The schedule. We have, one more. It's Tuesday, April 7th. Is the last one. Tuesday, April 7th is the next time we'll be at practice, and then we'll have A-Day after that. I guess that's the Tuesday of A-Day, right? So we'll have Tuesday and then Saturday to watch and see how E.J. Crowell progresses and if some of the order and some of the things that we saw today are changed up. A lot of my observations, Theo, from today are through the lens of, hey, this is just day 3. It's just day 3. The guys were moving around pretty well, but as we said, it's just day 3, and the practice periods that we see are just individual drills. They're basically just fundamental work. So it's not seeing anything schematic. What you can glean from it is size, height and weight, who's standing out just kind of size-wise, body composition-wise, and then order of the drills. And then if anybody's getting particularly ridden hard by the coaching staff, I didn't see any hard coaching because players were messing up. That's usually why you have hard coaching. Players not quite getting it. But I watched defensive line. I watched the inside linebackers and the defensive backs, and they were going through the circuits because that's just how they start. That's how they start the drills. Is the coaches all stay put, and the position groups move from circuit to circuit to circuit. The biggest thing that I took away was it seemed like all the linebackers, Wolves, inside backers, and bandits were all working together in one group instead of broken into three groups. You had Luke Metz and Yanzi Pierre. You had Caleb Woodson all in the same group. I'm pretty sure Desmond Umezulu was in the same group, maybe playing bandit this year. So it kind of seemed, it was interesting to me. For a second, I thought, what is this group? Who is this group? But it was three groups all together. At the very least, it was inside backers and Wolves. It was hard for me to say that the bandits were there as well, but I do think the bandits were there because Demarion Matthews was in that group as well. And so to me, it goes back to yesterday's conversation with Coach DeBoer discussing position versatility and trying to work guys at multiple positions so that Kane Womack can have flexibility with who he's putting on the field. They were doing edge rushing drills, they were doing form tackling drills, and they were doing basic linebacker coverage drills as well. So it was all three phases, whether you're rushing the passer, or you're playing wolf, whether you're dropping back in coverage, playing inside backer, or you're in open field on the edge or in open field as an inside linebacker, form tackling. All three kind of basic skill sets were being worked during the practice period. So I thought it was interesting that all three groups looked like they were together as one group today. You would assume that they would likely break apart once the practice continues. The practice obviously continuing behind us for another hour and change. So you would assume that they would break apart and do more position-specific activities after the media leaves the room. So that was interesting to me to see them all together. Now, what else was interesting to me was that it looked like Caleb Woodson and Luke Metz were taking the first drills with the inside backers, and then it looked like Caden Jones and QB Reese were the next two. Now, that could have been Joe not reading the order very correctly from the sidelines, but that's what it looked like to me. And obviously, look, that order doesn't even really matter because we're still 3 weeks away from A-Day, and we're 175-ish days until the start of the season. Those can all get shuffled around. But that's just what it looked like in the couple of minutes that we got to spend out there, which was interesting to me to see Caden Jones and QB as the twos. But we heard it yesterday about Caleb Woodson coming in and being that captain type player, veteran linebacker coming in from Virginia Tech. So that doesn't inherently surprise me to see him go ahead and take one of those two starting roles. I think it's just a nice feather in the cap for Luke Metz to be maybe ahead of some of these upperclassmen that he came in after last season. So I think that was a pretty big takeaway for me. And then secondly, goodness gracious, how many good things can you say about Jaira Edwards after seeing him for 15 minutes? Obviously, it's not real football. It's just drill work. But Jaira Edwards wearing number 10 for you in your program is number one in your heart. 6'2", 221 on the playbook or on the program. He looked just like he was ready to play college football today. He looked every bit as muscular, as bulked out, as filled out, and smooth, fluid as well. You get some of those guys that are really muscled out and they don't move very well. The fluidity that he moved through the drills was pretty significant to me. I thought, oh, that stands out to me. And granted, I was trying to look for him anyways because I wanted to see all the new freshmen. But he just looked like, oh, that's a football playing Jesse right there, who is comfortable with whatever you ask him to do. Kane Womack came up to him after one of the drills he worked through and kind of did drop back 4 or 5 yards and broke on a ball to catch an interception or a simulated interception. I think he put the ball in the wrong hand. Kane Womack came up to him and immediately, hey, put the ball in the outside hand, yada, 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 kind of working with him with his technique. And next rep, ran right through and got the big old attaboy, good job, just like that after his rep. So I think he is a player that is going to be very, very, very hard to keep off the field this fall.
Well, you just excited a lot of fans, Joe. I mean, that is when you talk about this secondary and just how absurdly talented it is. And we talked about it yesterday, or it was Monday with the Husky position, right? And just how many names there are there. When you add another guy in Edwards who is going to be demanding to be on the not physically demanding, but demanding in the way he looks to be on the field, you have the best problem you could ever have on a football team right there in that secondary, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the Husky position looks like I'm trying to couch my statement by thinking about it first, but it might be the most competitive position as far as who's playing and who's depth behind them. Your 2 and 3, I think, could probably be contributing for almost anyone this year in a defensive back. You're going to look at Red Morgan, you're going to look at Xavier Mincy and Jaira Edwards. All three of those guys really, really vying for a spot. And I think, and even I think Ivan Taylor as well, 13, right? Yeah, Ivan Taylor as well can be in on that group. And man, Xavier Mincy looked huge as well. I mean, Xavier's always looked huge. 6'2", 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", where is he at? 13. 230, 13.
No,
206, 206, 206. All these numbers are all kind of in a line. 6'3", 206. He's always looked huge. And so I think you have a real luxury if you're Kane Womack looking at these defensive backs thinking, wow, I can really, really make life hard on quarterbacks with these long and rangy and fast defensive backs. If you can just hone them in, make sure that they're all playing fast, knowing their assignment, I think you're going to have a pass coverage unit that is among the nation's best. Now, are you going to have a pass rush unit that helps them, that allows the defensive backs to make plays? Harder to see, especially today. Defensive linemen were off in the corner of the Hank Crisp facility, and off in the corner meant, we were only permitted to go like 50 yards down, which is fine. We're happy to be there. We weren't permitted to go all the way down to that corner is the point. And there was a lot of bodies standing in between myself and Freddie Roach and his players. So I really don't have. That's what I wanted to see was the defensive line room and how they were moving and what the order was and who Freddie Roach was getting onto. If Steve Bolabumwa has gotten gotten off of Freddie Roach's radar, but we weren't able to see any of that today. So I still think that room is. I don't want to say mysterious, but a bit mysterious.
It's as mysterious as any unit on this team is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had Katie basically watching the running backs in the offensive line room. So we'll get Katie on pretty soon to talk about what she saw from the offensive line room. I think that they are also basically it's offensive line and defensive line as far as mystery, and it's a mystery that Alabama needs to solve as soon as possible. So it was a fun time to be out there today. Theo, what are your feelings? Well, did we see a national championship team? Did we see a college football playoff team? Did we see an SEC title contending team? Well, obviously it was only 15 minutes, but if I had to tell you, you got to make a take off this team walking out of those 15 minutes. Where do you land?
Well, I think that your defensive takes probably go a lot more positively than what I saw with the offense and the QBs, but it's just that's promising. That's a good place to be in right now because, we talked about it earlier in the week, right, with the QBs and the talent that they have. And you don't know where you're starting at, but you know that the potential is there. The fact that we just have talked about this defense, right, with physically imposing pieces, with an overload of talent, an embarrassment of riches in the secondary, and just a bunch of guys who can contribute in the linebacker. I mean, obviously we don't know what exactly it'll look like up front, but you have the pieces there. If our biggest problem from day one of a practice that is 6 months before the start of the season is that, these QBs just got to build better rapport with their receivers and start throwing a little more accurately, you can live with that, right? For this point in the season, your QBs have so many opportunities and a million practice reps to get to know these guys and to know where their receivers want the ball and just to work through the semantics of all of that. So I tweet I tweeted out videos. We're talking about it. People are going to overreact to every single overthrow. But honestly, it's not the worst problem in the world right now. It's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, as you were sitting here and we're kind of getting set up, you were looking at all your videos, and it was kind of, oh.
It is certainly, it does not look good.
But it's just day three. And you had a lot of turnover in your wide receiver room. You're going to have to reestablish all your rapport. Your report doesn't move me into worry quite yet. Now, if you keep hearing it through spring camp and on the next Tuesday that we're out here, the Tuesday before A-Day, if they're still really, really inaccurate, I think that would be pretty problematic. But yeah, I have cautious optimism about this program right now. I think that a lot of, and granted, I'm usually optimistic, but you hear the outside noise for the program, and you hear, oh well, Bama's up a creek, Coach DeBoer, everybody who thinks what they think about Coach DeBoer, not a good big game coach, not a good, can't whatever. I think there is a foundation that he has laid over these 2 years, and he's still laying. I think it's still being laid that will serve Alabama well as college football continues to move in the direction that it's moving, as far as recruit, retain, develop, and so I think you saw that in the last couple of recruiting classes. You saw it in the class of 2026. I mean, here we are talking about E.J. Crowell, talking about Jaira Edwards. We're talking about some of these freshmen who are already standing out. Jamarian Matthews standing out to me physically. 6'2", 252 for Jamarian Matthews. I think that boy I think he might be a bandit rotational piece this year. I don't know that he's going to be, hey, that guy's your bandit, but a rotational piece. I see a lot of reason for optimism. Now, I acknowledge the question marks, the huge question marks that are there. Offensive line, defensive line, quarterback are huge question marks. But I also think you have talent in all three of those areas that, hey, if the talent just blooms a little bit, you just water it a little bit, give it some sunshine, let it bloom, I think it could really turn out to be another really positive season for Alabama. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. This was just day 3, Theo. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's so early, man. And it is like, it's weird just in my head because it's like, well, I just saw these guys practice in Los Angeles. And that was under 2.5 months ago. And it feels like the season just ended. It feels like last season just happened. But it's also like, we're moving forward with a new team. Looking out on the field and seeing number 15 going and throwing a football, it's like, oh, wow. Wait, that's not Ty. That's Jet Tamala. Like, it's weird because you have a new roster. You have all these new pieces, and it's easy to forget just how new all of this is, how fresh this team is for so many of the players. So it's such a fun dynamic right now because you have the mistakes that are inevitably going to be made, but you also have a part of the year where these guys are all settling in with the team and learning how to adjust. And I guarantee that when we go back out there on April 7th, I think you said was the date, right, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
When we go out there on April 7th, it's going to look very different than what we saw today. And it's going to be really fun to get to compare just how things evolve over the next 3 weeks.
All right, let me just read you Katie's notes on the offensive line. You can read all of the BamaCentral practice report right there at BamaCentral, but her note on the offensive line is pretty interesting to me. First team offensive line from left to right, left tackle Jackson Lloyd, left guard Nick Brooks, transfer from Texas, Cal Poly, Rayson Delgatti, transfer at center, redshirt freshman Mal Waldrop Jr. at right guard, and Michael Carroll at right tackle. Reminder, William Sanders is out for spring. You would assume you would imagine that William Sanders would be in place of Mal Waldrop Jr. And so it sounds like your first roll of the dice at the offensive line is Jackson Lloyd, is Nick Brooks, is Rayson Delgatti, probably William Sanders, and then Michael Carroll. So I feel that's a solid starting group to start with on day 3. You're 175 days away from opening it all up, and things could change. But I don't feel horrible about that group of 5. I think that group of 5 could become a really good offensive line. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the best offensive line in the league, in the conference, in college football. I think that's ridiculous, and anybody saying that, I would encourage you to tune them out. I think they could become a nice little unit. She writes the quarterback order. We've already got that. Wide receivers in order. You already know it. Ryan Coleman Williams, Rico Scott, Lesia Brooks, Sedarian Morgan, Derek Meadows, Noah Rogers, Tyler Henderson, and then Maurice Mathis Jr. So she's got a lot of other notes. I've got my notes in this report. Theo's got his notes in this report as well. So you can check that out on the BamaCentral YouTube channel if you want, or excuse me, on the BamaCentral homepage. Right there is the practice report. We've got 4 different practice videos already up on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see what we saw from practice, it's right there. Theo, any other football topics or conversations you want to get into before we go hear from Ryan Grubb? We're going to hear from Ryan Grubb and a lot of the players here in just a moment.
No, I'm excited. I almost wish we were doing this after the presser, right? Because we'd have some more input to give. But I'm excited to actually hear from these guys. You know, Grubb, obviously not the longest talker in the world, but we're going to get stuff, right? It's the first practice, and there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to give us, I think, interesting answers. At least as interesting as we're going to get this spring today.
Absolutely. So before we get out of here, we want to remind you the program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, a top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. Visit them online today at roofturtle.com for all their products and services. Call them for your free roof inspection, 877-787-6635. They'll come out and take care of you, give you the peace of mind that you deserve. Purple Turtle Roofing, roofing with heart, built to last. All right, last thing here, Theo, is the SEC tournament. We don't want to leave it without acknowledging today's games. Well, I missed the Auburn game. I picked Mississippi State to upset. We both missed the Texas game. Texas ended up losing to Ole Miss. So Ole Miss inspired to continue to play. You got 4 games today. Let's fly through them, Theo. Yeah. Kentucky is playing Missouri right here at 11:30. You think Big Blue Nation keeps it going? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I agree. Missouri's not that great of a team.
Yeah, so Kentucky's a 2.5-point favorite. We're both taking the Wildcats. 2 o'clock. Auburn is taking on Tennessee. Here is where it ends for Auburn, right?
I do think so. I like the Vols here, and I don't think it'll be particularly close.
Yeah, 5.5-point favorite for Tennessee, and we're both on Tennessee. Ole Miss is taking on Georgia at 6 o'clock, so this will be the game you'll want to pay attention to. Alabama is taking on the winner. Georgia catching a little break with the upset, with Ole Miss upsetting Texas last night. You think Georgia takes advantage of the break and wins?
I do. I think Georgia would have beaten Texas as well. Texas deserves to be dropped from the tournament after that loss to Ole Miss, although just about everyone on the bubble is lost, so it's hard to say. But, yeah, I like Georgia to win this game. Ole Miss is just not a great basketball team.
Yeah, and last one is Oklahoma taking on Texas A&M in the nightcap. I think I'm going with all 4 favorites. I know Kentucky's not favored in the seed line, but they're favored in Vegas. A&M favored by 2.5. I think I'm taking all 4 favorites today, and I'm taking the Aggies also.
I like the upset here. How do you pick a team that's been bad all season, that is going up against a team that is going to run and make you sprint across the court for 40 minutes when you just played a game the day before? Well, Porter Moser's handled that a lot before in his career. He has traditionally, I think, done a pretty solid job of slowing down those really fast offenses. And we've seen Oklahoma. They have talent, right? You've underwhelmed. I think if I'm the Sooners right now, I'm looking and I'm saying, we've had an underwhelming season. A&M is a flawed basketball team. A&M is a beatable basketball team. And we as the Sooners, we've played with a lot of good teams. And if it weren't for a slow start to the season, with the way the bubble's unfolded now, we'd probably be in the tournament. Let's give ourselves something to be happy with heading into the end of the season. I like the Sooners to win.
There we go. So we'll see what happens today in Nashville. We'll be up there in Nashville for tomorrow's first-round game between Alabama and the winner of Georgia and Ole Miss. We will have a program tomorrow morning. We'll be talking about that game, whoever Alabama ends up playing. We'll be talking about what we heard from Ryan Grubb today, from Ryan Williams, and from other Alabama football players. We just wanted to bring you a nice little short episode this morning because of the timing and everything that's going on. We appreciate everybody who's bearing with us, bringing you the episode a little later today and a little shorter today. But we will be back tomorrow for a full hour to talk about Alabama basketball in the SEC tournament, Alabama spring practice as it continues to roll on right here in Tuscaloosa. Big thanks to Derek Daniel for sponsoring the program. Big thanks to Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _, myself at Joe Gaither 6, and BamaCentral at Alabama Crimson Tide on SI.